Yay!
Yay!
Hello and welcome to Ditch Witch Diaries. We are here this week and we are talking about our next poisonous psychotropic. I don't even know what it is. So I'm excited.
Ah,
I know I didn't even look. So I'm
excellent.
excited to be surprised. Take it away, Raven.
All right. We are doing Foxglove today.
Ooh.
I thought we had done it before, but I didn't see it anywhere.
No, I don't think we have. And
Yeah,
that
I think
is
we've like mentioned it a handful of times, but I don't think we've actually done it.
okay, and let me tell you, like when you see this in real life, I saw it at I went to and shout out to Pearson's, like by me. So if you
Nice.
are in North County, San Diego, highly recommend that you check out Pearson's Herbs. But I want to tell you, they had some foxglove like in the and it is a shockingly beautiful plant to behold. It is
Oh,
like
yeah.
it is amazing. It is one
Yeah.
of my favorite plants of all time.
There we go. I love foxglove and it grows everywhere out here. We'll talk about that, but
Ooh,
it grows
really?
everywhere. And a lot of people just have it also like growing in their front yards. It's like be actually, I I wonder if I still oh yeah. I have a little like I have one that I picked the other day.
Oh
Just
my
to keep it
God.
like on my little window altar because it's dried, but they're everywhere. They're so beautiful.
I love
So
that.
beautiful. Okay, so foxglove, let's get into it. So, first of all, it's part of the plantain family.
Oh,
Plantagenesae. Plantain though. So the genus is Digitalis. A lot of times you'll just hear people call it Digitalis. That's foxglove. That's the genus. There's a lot of different species. We'll talk about some of them, but the most common one discussed, at least here in the US, is the common foxglove, which is the Digitalis purpurea. I think so you say that, which is the purple, but we'll talk about how it's not always so purple. But this is what it looks like. Beautiful little lady. I also have her, I use the same background picture on all of my like poison, toxin, psychotropic ones, and this is her right here.
I love
Little
that.
foxglove. Okay. So, other common species is the Digitalis lanata. There we go, which looks super rad. I have never seen this in
Amazing.
real life, but that looks really cool.
That is
Also
rad.
called the woolly foxglove or the Gracian foxglove. And then we have the grandiflora, which is the large flowered foxglove. Also has that slightly like veiny look, but the petals look more like the common foxglove. And then we have the yellow foxglove or the luta, which does not look anything really like our common foxglove. Still has like that bell shape, but that's pretty much it. So those are the big common ones. So other names, lots of other names. So we have purple. Oh, also from this point forward, I'm specifically talking about common foxglove because,
Okay.
if there's a lot of species, it's
We gotta pick and choose.
yeah, you got to pick and choose. Yeah. There's one caveat where it includes two different species, but in general, we're talking about the common. So purple foxglove, finger flower, finger hut, fairy gloves, fairy thimbles, fairy caps, fairy fingers, lots of fairies, witches gloves, witches thimbles, dead man's bells, dead man's fingers, bloody fingers, lady's glove, virgin's glove, fairy's petticoat. So lots of other names. All right, so height, pretty tall, 2 to 5 feet. The average is around like 4 or so, and I tried to find a picture that kind of put in the height into perspective. I couldn't really find a good one, but it's pretty tall. My friend actually has a massive backyard garden, and she has a bunch of foxglove in her garden, and it's like almost as tall as me. I'm 5'7", so they can get to be very tall. The leaves are pretty oval. These are both foxglove leaves. They are pretty hairy, which you can see it a little bit here, but they're it's not like full fur leaves, but they're pretty hairy. The veins are pretty strong. You can also see like in this like how much of an indent the veins leave, so it's pretty clear like indentation. And they are in this rosette, which we've talked about before, where it's just kind of like the circular
Mhm.
growth. Now the flowers, the most like notable attribute, this is what foxglove is known for. So we have the flowers are pretty large. They're like probably I don't know, maybe like yeah, like an inch and a half to two. So like almost as big as my
Yeah,
as your index finger. They're pretty big.
they're big. Yeah.
Yeah, they're big. And they grow on these very really tall stalks you can see here. Most commonly, so especially with the common foxglove, most commonly purple, pink, or like this kind of rosy red pink color. But there are other colors like white or kind of like a cream. I'll talk about that in a second. The interior of the flower is most typically like a pale pink with these dark brown to like maroon burgundy kind of colors with these halos of lighter colors around them. This is like indicative of foxglove. Foxglove is the only flower that has this like very vertical shape, these tubular flowers with this kind, I call it cheetah print. I don't know what the actual, people just call them spots, but it looks like cheetah print to me. So like common cheetah print. This is an easily identifiable feature. If you see a flower that looks like this, it's probably foxglove. And they bloom from late spring to early summer, typically. Now, something interesting, we don't really know why they started, growing these like spots, but the thought process is that it's a guide for pollinators. So it helps bees find like the entrance to the flower to help them pollinate, especially because they bloom in late spring, which is after a lot of other flowers have already bloomed. So because they're late bloomers, they really need like the bees to come in. And so it's kind of like I imagine like the airline people like directing the plane.
Exactly. This way.
Yeah, this way. Now, something interesting, there's a common misconception that all common foxglove have the spots. That is not true. Most of them do. There's this variety, which is the white variety, which is like a subspecies of the common foxglove, and a lot of them do have spots. The spots are much smaller, no halo, but it can also not have spots. So I've heard a lot of people talk about how foxglove like has to have the spots. If you see a flower without the spots, it's not foxglove, which is not true. Most of the purple ones have spots, but there's even some purples that don't. So don't let that mislead you. But if it does have the spots, it is likely
For sure.
foxglove, but it does not have to have the spots. Okay, so native to basically like Western Europe. So British Isles, France, Spain, Portugal, Germany, Italy. But it's been naturalized to a lot of places, especially the Pacific Northwest and other regions of like Northern America, but especially like Northwestern US. Preferred habitat, it doesn't really want like the easy growing conditions. So it likes woodland clearings, forest edges, moorland where it's kind of like marshy, almost rocky, and it really likes recently disturbed or burned areas. We've talked about a couple of plants that are like this, where if an area is burned, it really likes that, like almost like carbon in the soil. And so foxglove is very much like that. With the sun, though, it is a little bit picky with the sun. So it likes some shade, some like indirect sunlight. It can grow in full sun, but if you have full sun and not enough moisture, it does not grow very tall and the flowers are very small. If there's too much shade, again, the flower stalks are short, flowers are small. So it's kind of picky with the sunlight, which is why it likes the northwestern US because we don't get a lot of sun and we are very moist. So some lookalikes, we have the beard tongue, which if you look up close doesn't look very similar, but it still has like that kind of coney, like
That
finger
tubular.
flower shape, and it does grow on like the stalks. The stalks are very much thinner, but can look similar. Um, and then the lookalikes so there isn't really any other flowers that look similar to foxglove other than this one. However, there's a lot of plants where the leaves look like it. So if it's not flowering yet, we have our girl mullein. You and I love mullein. We have comfrey, we have borage, and lamb's ear. Now, mullein, I think, is the closest look like, and mullein grows like in a stalk kind of too. The
Yeah.
leaves look a little bit different though. So this is our foxglove here. So it looks kind of similar. The lamb's ear, which is one of my favorite leafy plants. Oh my
It
God,
feels
I
so good.
love a
It's
lamb's ear. They're
so
so
soft. It kills me how
they're
soft they
so
are.
soft. Those grow a lot up here too, and I freaking love it. And the leaves are a little similar, but lamb's ear is the woolliest, like fuzziest, hairiest
Softest.
green like leaf
Oh,
ever.
lovely.
And so foxglove is not that fuzzy,
Yeah.
but it is definitely you can kind of see like the white sheen is like the little hairs. So
Yeah.
it's fuzzy, but not there nothing compares to lamb's ear. You know lamb's ear if you like touch it.
If you touch it, you're like, oh,
You know it. Yeah, you just
yeah.
want to
Exactly.
hello.
Exactly. That's all I keep thinking about is,
Yeah,
oh, so soft.
I love you. Yeah. Definitely Mullen, I could see though could be
Yeah.
similar. And like the veininess and like how deeply imprinted the
Yeah.
veins are in borage, I could see
Yeah.
that. But the borage isn't very fuzzy, I don't think so.
No. And borage has like the flowers are so different on
So
them.
different. Yeah,
Yeah.
all of these the flowers are super different. Yeah. Okay, so get comfy. We got some history and lore.
Lovely.
Not not a very detailed lore, but a lot of surface level lore.
Okay.
Okay. So, first we have Britain, Wales, Ireland. So Foxglove was and is still traditionally associated with the Fae. We saw that in the names, right? Lots and lots of Fae names. So especially in Wales and Ireland, but honestly, like most of Europe. The flowers are seen as like tiny gloves, thimbles, hats, bells, all kinds of things that are associated with like supernatural beings. So the Fae, elves. We'll go into it. Now, the Welsh name Minying Elion, I don't know, is translated as goblin's gloves or elves' gloves. And so the idea is that the flowers were clothing belonging to some like inhabitants of the land. So we'll get into this a little bit deeper. So the dark markings inside the flowers were said to be the fingerprints or handprints
Ew.
of the face. So they wore them as gloves. When they took them off, the dark markings were from their hands. Um, and and then in Germany, it's the same belief, but it was believed that only malicious or like unfortunate fae left that mark in the flowers. So if you found a foxglove with no prints, it was believed that they were still used as fae gloves, but it was like, I don't know, nice or like pleasant fairies. So there's a belief that foxgloves were a favorite hiding place of fairies or like the fae. So we have worn as like clothing. We also have hiding places. And it's believed that so this is true. If you pick a flower, I haven't tried this, but I saw this everywhere. If you pick a flower and you hold the closed part in your hand and you kind of hold it up and you hit it like this so that you're hitting the open part, that it's a really loud snap.
Oh.
And it was believed in Wales that that snap was the sound of the fairy leaving the flower before you could smush it, which is pretty cool. And then also foxglove leaves were used to make this dark dye, which then people would use to paint crosses on like linen or floors or walls to protect against witches. We'll circle back to that too. In Scandinavia, it was believed that the Fae taught foxes how to ring the flowers like bells. And so when a hunter approached, the foxes would ring the flowers to alert other foxes that a hunter was near. Love that. And some lore says that the foxes would also wear them almost as like socks so that, or not like socks, we'll circle back to that, but would wear them around their neck so that other foxes could like find them and stuff. Then in Britain, we have foxglove being called dead man's bells or dead man's fingers. And so it's believed that if you heard bells and you saw foxglove at the same time, that was foretelling of your death. And in Scotland, they were called bloody fingers, which is the same thing. Didn't have to be death, though. It could also mean some type of like bodily harm if you heard bells and saw foxglove. So, foxglove was considered unlucky to bring indoors in Scotland. As with a lot of folklore, we'll see that there's some contrary or contradictory information between places. But from Scotland, unlucky to bring indoors. It was also unlucky to bring it aboard a ship. But for other places in Scotland and some other places in Europe, it was believed that you could actually place it around children's cradles or in children's shoes as protection. And in England, it was believed if you brought a foxglove into the house that you would draw in the devil.
Devil, the
Devil,
devil.
devil, devil.
Exactly. Devil, devil, devil. Oh.
So then in England, we have it placed in children's shoes for magical protection, as I said previously. In Germany, it's sometimes called finger hut, which means like finger hat, meaning like a thimble, right? Like a sewing thimble. And so the name Digitalis actually comes from the association digit, meaning like finger. And Fouche, I guess, who is a 16th century botanist, he basically gave the name Digitalis because of like this finger thimble shape, and that's how it got its Latin or its scientific name.
Nice.
So then we have in Cornwall, we have Saint Nectan was believed to be beheaded by thieves while he was trying to recover his stolen cattle. So thieves stole his cattle, he's trying to get his cattle back. The people who stole his cattle beheaded him. And according to the legend, he picked up his head and carried it home. And where his head was like bleeding and hit the ground, we have the foxglove popping up. And so it's associated with like Saint Nectan.
Oh,
Then we have San Juan. So in the like Spain and some other places, foxglove was believed to be one of the San Juaneras, believed to drive.
Juanera.
Yeah, Juaneras. I don't know. Believed to drive away witches and like evil and stuff. And so San Juan, which is Saint John, right? So you could put it on your doors, windows, any openings on the night of June 23rd, which is Saint John's Eve, to prevent like witches and witchcraft from entering the house. We also have this saying, which I love, that says basically translates to where foxglove grows, the witches danced on moonlit nights. Love that. Live that. Um, and then something else that I saw when I was looking into this like San Juan ceremony and stuff, which doesn't have anything to do with foxglove, but I love it. So there's this traditional practice where you would make a fire, and then once it was an ash, you would like pass over the ash, right? We've seen this in a lot of different like magical witchy kind of like folklore traditions of like passing over the ash. However, it was believed that as you were jumping over it, you would say this, which translates to jump the San Juan fire so that neither bitch nor dog will bite.
Me too.
I love that. So again, that specifically doesn't have anything to do with foxglove. Don't burn foxglove, okay? But
No.
that was just something for
But
San Juan.
that's fun.
Okay, so there is this story of like the Roman Juno Flora Mars story. So the story is Juno was angry that Jupiter could father children without her, right? Didn't need the female. And so after seeing that Minerva could emerge from Jupiter without a mother, Juno sought help from Flora, who's like the goddess of flowers and vegetation. And so Juno said, like this isn't fair. I want to be able to do this, basically. So Flora is said to have used the foxglove flower to touch Juno's belly and breasts, allowing Juno to conceive Mars, the Roman god of war, without the male aspect. However, there's problems with this story because it wasn't native to like Rome or Greek or any of those other places, and there is no evidence that these places even knew of foxglove because it wasn't there. And it doesn't appear in any Materia Medica. It's not included in any writings at all. And it didn't even have a Greek or a Latin name because they didn't know about it. And so it's believed that this story was just kind of like a modern invention. That's just because it's like a potent kind of like almost like witchy plant, and so it was like later attributed to this. So I saw this story quite a few places, but not really any backing to it.
It's funny because even Flora is like in that book that I don't know if
Mm.
I was referencing it in yours, but I think it's called Lilies of the Hearth. It's about women's connection to
Oh
plants.
yeah, the one you left in the car.
Yeah, the one it's the one that's in the
Yeah.
car waiting to be read
Yeah.
more. It's the so Flora is like talked about how like
Mhm.
women got associated with like flowers and
Ah,
like
interesting.
the yeah instead of like yeah like they
Like deeply
the
rooted
head
plant.
god like well Zeus overtook like Gaia or mother that was
Mm.
like prolific from
Yeah.
time immemorial.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So interesting. I don't think that we talked about no, I don't think we talked about it on like in a video, but a few months ago I went on like this deep dive of how the hold on, let me grab it real quick. What was it? It was like how all of the like female deity associations, like Gaia, became kind of translated into like male driven deities.
Yeah.
And it was so interesting. I mean, I took so many notes on it because I just thought it was like so strange. And it all came down to, hold on, where is it? I have so much like so many writings and things in this notebook. But it all came down to agriculture. Like
Yeah.
agriculture is where we like really transition from female-based deity and like matriarchy and stuff into like more male-based deities and stuff, which is
Mhm.
so irritating. Anyways, yes. So misattributed, but that's okay. And then we have the Druid sacred plant claim. So there's a lot of books and like things online I saw that said that foxglove was a sacred plant to the Druids and was used in a lot of midsummer like sacrifices and workings and stuff. But again, no evidence of this. Um, I'm not one necessarily to like discredit things because there's no evidence necessarily, I guess, but I like to be really careful about like I don't know, like misattributes, right? Like I
Yeah.
don't want to say that it's heavily associated with this thing if
If
it
it's
wasn't actually
yeah,
associated with that. Like I
totally.
don't need the evidence per se, but I want like the stories and the backbone a little bit. And so there's no evidence at all that this is true. 19th century European writers were really big about attributing like mysterious plants to the Druids, and so it's believed that that's where it came from. Okay, and then why are they called foxglove? So there's two theories. One is that it came from folksglove, folksglove meaning the fae, right? Like the fairy folk. And so folksglove just kind of got game of telephone into foxglove. The other theory is that like this story of like the fox is actually wearing them, as we talked about before. So we don't really know, but those are the two theories.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then historical non-medicinal uses, textiles. So in two ways. One is in Britain, there was a lot of records of like Welsh, like peasants and people using the root as a preparation for the yarn, not for the coloring, but more as like the mordant, right, to make the
Oh,
coloring stick. But you could use the flowers actually make like this apple green dye. So using it either as a mordant or a coloring was pretty common. It's really interesting that the purple flowers make a green dye.
it is.
I don't
That
know enough about color theory. That probably makes complete sense, but I think that it's cool.
is wild.
Um, okay, so that's it for history and folklore. Now, again, we're going to talk about medicinal properties. We're not physicians, we're not doctors. Don't consume this. You know, if you want to consume it, I don't know why you would. I wouldn't, but use at your own risk, okay?
Okay.
So, actions. There's some actions I had not heard of before, so I put like the what they mean, but we have positive inotropic increases force of cardiac contraction. Negative chronotropic slows heart rate. Negative dromotropic, which is slowing electrical conduction through like your AV node, like your heart. And then cardiotonic, which we have talked about before, and diuretic. So a lot of heart stuff. So what makes it poison? Cardiac glycosides. We've talked about this before. We talked about it in Oleander and Lily of the Valley. We can maybe link those, one of those videos.
I
Probably
will.
Oleander would be better.
Yep.
Because I go into cardioglycosides and how they work, but it's the
Okay.
same process, same
I
components.
will link oleander.
Um, huh?
I will link the oleander.
Beautiful. So compounds are digoxin, digitoxin, and other like related compounds. So we've talked about like all of this, right? Digoxin is this big, it's heart stuff. Um, yes. So what parts of the plant are toxic? All of it, as with a lot of our kind of like poisonous, baneful, toxic plants, all of it is poisonous.
Yeah.
The upper leaves and the seeds are the most toxic, but all of it is toxic. And how much is toxic? As usual, it depends, right? We've talked about this before too. It depends on what part of the plant, how old is the plant, the growing conditions. Was it dry? Was it overly moist? The season you're harvesting it, all kinds of stuff. So a lot of people thinking, oh, well, I'll, just eat like one leaf. Ooh, I wouldn't, but you never know. You never know. Yeah. So, symptoms of poisoning, the big one is the heart because like it's a cardiac glycoside, right? So most of the poisoning stuff comes from the heart. So slow heart rate, abnormal rhythm, so like abnormal beating, conduction abnormalities, arrhythmias, low blood pressure, and cardiovascular collapse even. Outside of the heart, we can also see nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, diarrhea, weakness, confusion, dizziness, and visual disturbances, including halo vision, which is halo vision is kind of like if you've ever gone swimming in a pool for a long time and you come out and you like see and you open your eyes underwater and everything has like this kind of like halo around it. That's kind of like the halo vision. Um, Also, what's that vision thing where it's hard to like drive at night because the lights there's like a vision problem. I can't remember.
I don't
Anyways, halo vision. So it's not fun, right? It's not like it's
know.
gonna produce like
Yeah.
fun things. This is
No.
like
Sounds
not good
horrible.
stuff.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
good. Don't do this.
Don't do it.
Sounds horrible.
So even though you should not consume it, some historical medicinal uses. So it was used especially in like Welsh herbal traditions, in like the 13th century for what we now know as cardiac disease. So it was used for heart stuff. But then we have, so this is so funny. I was talking to Jake, my partner, who is in the medical field, shall we say. I don't want people to mix up what I do with what he does, so I'm not going to tell you exactly what he does, but um, he's in the medical field, and so he saw me writing about Foxglove and digoxin. He saw me like writing this
Uh-huh.
slide, and he was like, "Oh, are you going to talk about withering?" And I was like, "I am." Like I just put that slide, and he knew exactly what this came from. So in 1785, William Withering was like a physician, and he's the one who found that foxglove could be used for like heart stuff. And he wrote this book called An Account of the Foxglove and some of its medicinal uses. And he basically said that it could be used for dropsy, which we also talked about in the oleander thing, and I think a few other plants too,
Yes.
which is basically just like fluid retention caused by like heart failure. So circling back to the diuretic, right? It helps you kind of like release a lot of that fluid, but it's not any fluid. It's not like, oh, I feel like I have fluid retention. I'm gonna eat some
Yeah.
foxglove. It's a very specific kind, and again, don't eat it anyways. But digoxin, there you go. And digoxin was you. So I don't know. This is just coming from my partner who works in like that this very specific area, but he said that digoxin was really big in the 80s, and it was not just from Foxglove, right? But it was like
Yeah.
processed and stuff. But
Yeah, it
the
was
component,
Digitalis. and it was
Yeah,
yeah, they
Digitalis.
used
Yeah.
it was called Digitalis, and they used
Yeah.
it as a heart remedy.
Yeah, heart remedy.
Yeah.
And so this was really, really big in the 80s. And then after that, they found that because they couldn't really, it wasn't so predictable. It wasn't as predictable as they would like it to be. There was still people who were, taking like too much or like within one dose it would be stronger sometimes and weaker other times and it wasn't as predictable so then they transitioned into something else in like the late 80s early 90s but that's digoxin. Okay. So, something else that's often talked about is how it could be used to counteract belladonna. So we see this in a lot of places. Sometimes it was called toad's leaf. Also, for the your information on like folk names, anything that's toad usually meant that it was used by witches, right? So like toad, like Eye of Newt, or like toad's hair, or like toad's leaf, toad's figure. That's all like because it was used by witches. So it was believed that you could take foxglove to counteract belladonna. So if you had taken too much belladonna, you could use foxglove to kind of counteract that. And there was a lot of books, like medicinal books and materia medicas that talked about this. Um, However, we don't know where this came from because it is not supported by research. Research shows that if you take belladonna and you take foxglove to counteract the belladonna, now you just have problems in two different areas. Now it's just compounded. So I don't know
Don't do
where
it.
this came from or why it was in so many things. I went down like this research rabbit hole. I was like, there has to be something because it's talked about in so many different places. There has to be
No,
something. It's not. It's not. There's
that's
nothing there.
hilarious.
There's nothing there. So do not take foxglove to counteract belladonna because now you're just going to be hurting in two different ways. Okay, so magical. I couldn't find a lot of stuff, so I didn't even, usually I'll give like reasonings why. I don't really agree with a lot of this stuff. So I didn't give the reasonings, but this was just like found on places online. So element is air. Uh, Sign is Gemini. The Gemini was said because it is kind of like this two-sided where it looks very
But I
pretty and delicate, but it's deadly. But it's that way for all of the poisonous plants.
yeah,
So
exactly. It kind of
I
is.
don't know. Planet is Mercury. Maybe, I don't know. The tarot is the high priestess, which again is like this very like magical like reasoning. And the chakra is the third eye, which is weird. I would associate it with the
Art.
heart
Yeah.
chakra.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I feel like for me, it feels kind of watery for the element because one, it needs constant moisture. It doesn't like full sun. But also it's a diuretic and it like works in the heart. So I could see water, kind of like water for it. I don't know. Gemini, I don't know. I get the duality aspect, but I feel like that's like too commonly attributed. I don't know. Thoughts on any of
So
these?
Briggs says something different. She says the planet is Venus and the element is water.
Okay, water.
There you
Venus, I could
go.
see. I
Yeah.
could see Venus for like
Speaking of, I know I'm gonna
heart,
go down the rabbit hole of the
delicate.
two.
Yeah.
Let's see. What does Greer say about it? Does Greer
Mm,
even have it?
I don't
Sometimes
remember.
Greer doesn't have
Yeah.
as many. No, I don't think. Oh yeah, yeah. He says also Venus in Libra.
Okay. Libra. Yeah, Libra for like the balancing, I guess.
Yeah, so interesting. I
Mm.
know. An interesting
So,
contrast. So yeah,
yeah. Mm.
interesting.
Um,
Kind of like
oh,
it for water too, and
yeah.
I kind of like it for Venus. It is so
I
stately and lovely
yeah.
and amazing. Yeah,
Yeah, I agree. I like it. And I
beautiful.
mean, Venus is often associated with like love and passion, which rightfully so, but also Venus has like a bit of a backbone, you know? And because it's on that
Yep,
really tall stalks, I kind of like that too.
yep,
Yeah, lots of good stuff.
yeah.
Okay. So, deities, beings. Obviously, we have the Fae is the big one. Elves, goblins, things like that. We also have the I try to say this before, I don't know. Elyon? I don't know, which is like Welsh
Elilon,
goblins.
Elilon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I feel like it's probably kind of like Irish pronunciation where it looks very
Something
different
that
from
is
what it sounds.
completely different than what it looks.
Um, we also have foxes, which I'll circle back to in just a second. Saint Nectan and Saint John, if you want. And then sometimes big, like known fae beings, so like Morgan Le Fay, but there isn't really a specific mention of Morgan Le Fay. A lot of people will attribute it to it just because she is like the fairy queen, right? And so it's like fairy. So I could see that. Okay, so some ways to use it. So protection from unwanted energy, right? You could put a picture of it, a drawing of it, a paper representation, or like even a pressed flower or something near like front doors or windows to keep it on there. I keep my little dried one right next to this is my like altar window. So I keep it there. Threshold magic, right? Moving into a new home, starting a new life phase, beginning a new job, any type of kind of threshold, not even necessarily physical threshold, but also non-physical type of threshold, because it's kind of like it is a threshold plant, right? A lot of the like poisonous, baneful type of plants are because a lot of them look very delicate and beautiful and are deadly, which is threshold magic. Also moon magic, right? Where Foxglove grows, the witches danced on moonlit nights. So any type of moon magic would be really cool. Seeing what's hidden magic. I like this. So seeing through deception, right? Because Foxglove, again, like a lot of other baneful plants, look beautiful, but the poison is like hidden inside. You wouldn't know until it's too late. So like seeing what is hidden, seeing through deception, uncovering hidden information, recognizing what isn't like obvious. Things like that. I also kind of like this. I had this idea, putting some type of foxglove image next to your tarot deck and then asking like, what am I not seeing? And then pulling a card or doing a spread with that. I like that a lot.
Me too.
Then we have fox magic. Now, as you have probably gathered, if you've watched a few of our videos, we believe that magic is kind of in the eye of the beholder, right? That you make up your own associations with things, you feel what's right, you do what works for you. And so I'm a firm believer in that, including in the realm of animal correspondences. I don't think that crows have a specific meaning or spiders have a specific meaning. It's up to you, the magical person, to deem what that meaning is to you. So I'm a firm believer in that. However, some common fox associations are things like cleverness, stealth, adaptability, strategy, that kind of stuff. And so if you want to use it for like fox type magic, you could potentially use it for anything like this. And then a specific kind of healing magic. So we know that foxglove was used medicinally, but we also know it's poisonous. So using it for things like balance and boundaries. So relationships, habits, emotional patterns, things that seem kind of medicinal and good for you and helpful, but actually aren't, especially maybe some relationships or habits. And so using foxglove in some type of working where you are maybe trying to see through something that you think is beneficial but actually isn't, or working through something that you know isn't beneficial, but you're kind of like stuck in that rut of thinking that it is. So I think Foxglove would be good for that. And that's it.
I love it. Woohoo!
Yay.
So good. Oh my gosh. I was hoping you would do that too. I
Nice.
was hoping because Foxglove is so interesting and
It's so good. Yeah, I know. I was looking through
so
our list,
beautiful. So
and I,
beautiful.
I was like, what do I want to do? And I picked like three of them. I was like, oh, I'll do this one. And then I kind of like looked at some pictures and I was like, that doesn't feel right. And I did that like four times. And I was like, I'm just gonna do Foxglove.
I love that. That's great.
Oh, yes.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much. And I'm excited and that's great. I love the Poison series. I'm so
So
into
good.
it. I
I
know.
know.
And I love that we're interspersing it with books on either side.
Mm,
So check out those book reviews because
yes.
they're it's important to see where we get the information from and what we're talking about. And you'll see that it is so broad. And so
Yeah.
like I went on a deep dive and put we have a list and I put like all the herb books and they are like I'm missing some every time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed our poisonous plant for the week, and we will like and subscribe below, and we will see you at the next Ditch Witch Diaries.